Hello, Carol Burdett back with you today for another segment of Anderson County Serves Here. Now, in our last segment, we talked to a nonprofit that's only been around for a short amount of time. Today, we are at the nonprofit AIM. They have been around for over 30 years, and we look forward to you hearing about how they meet basic needs and they help people find the road to self-sufficiency. Thanks again to County Administrator Rusty Burns and County Council for the opportunity for you to know more about where Anderson County serves and how you can be a part of making our community a better place to live, work, and play.
Well, approximately 32 years ago, when I received the call to become the director of Anderson Interfaith Ministries, I had been with Crisis Ministries, and I had the philosophy of helping people help themselves. I felt like it preserved dignity in people, and that was really the approach. So it was a much better approach than an open hand. So since that time, AIM has grown around that concept and added programs along the way. One of the challenges I have is knowing that there's a need in the community, finding out that there's a resource that we can bring into this community and not doing something about it. So I can tell you that AIM is probably too big because we have responded over the years to the many different needs that emerged. Coming from a background at Crisis Ministries where everything was an immediate crisis, I really wanted to try to move people to a place where they were responding to needs, looking at the future, instead of always responding in that crisis. What I've come to know over the last 30 plus years is that when you grow up in long-term instability, that's exactly how you see the world, and that's how you respond. It is to that situation of crisis. So we wanted to be a part of the solution, and that's why we have even changed the names of our programs from emergency assistance to pivotal support, because we want to be spreading the message of you are in control of your environment and you can make decisions today that will affect your future. You don't have to live in the moment and in survival mode.
And y'all have gotten to know a lot of individuals and families as a part of that approach, so you can work with them long term. Tell me about how successful that's been.
Well, our Women and Children Succeeding was one of the first programs that we started, and that was, I guess, in a response really to do just that in trying to affect long-term change and trying to build assets in these low-wealth families. And we know education's a key part of that. And these were women that were struggling with all kinds of barriers that were preventing them from achieving that college degree. And so we knew that in order for women to be able to take advantage of education, many times a free education, they had to have the other supportive services such as child care, assistance with transportation, but it's much deeper than that. They needed peer support. Many of these women were literally walking away from their families because they were the first in their families to go to higher education, and the families weren't supportive of that. So for a period of time until they achieved that degree, many had to walk away from those relationships and find new relationships. So we found that this group of women became that peer support to one another. Also the mentors, we found that in many cases you would think the child care and the transportation, that was the biggest part, and it's huge, it really is. Those financial supports are important. But we need many more supports other than just financial. And we found that the mentors played a huge role in the success of these families. And to date, we've had 176 families to successfully complete the Women and Children Succeeding program. And we know of 6 that have gone on and gotten PhDs.
And it's become a model program for other places around the country, correct?
Absolutely. Many, I would say probably 40% of the women came into this program homeless and have now achieved amazing things in this community. We have community leaders that have just been recognized nationally and on the state level for the work that they've done after graduating from this program. Well, AIM operates on a continuum of services, from basic needs stabilization to that of financial wellness, workforce development and education. So all down that continuum, and people can come in the continuum at any point. Probably our food ministry is the most basic. People can come once a month and receive food, pretty much no questions asked, because we see food as such a basic human need. We do some screening, but for the most part, that's more to help people identify other resources that can help them move forward. Our pivotal support program is where we do utilities, rent, mortgage assistance, water assistance. Again, a pretty basic program, but it's an opportunity many times to identify folks that we can then connect with other parts of our organization and other community organizations that do good work. And I think that's one of the reasons that AIM has been successful, is the fact that we know we can't do this alone. It takes all of us, it takes all the organizations in Anderson County working together to provide that safety net to help people that desire to change their lives and grow, to come together and provide those supports. So that's, they start the food ministry, our pivotal support program, and then on down to our asset building programs. And when we look at our housing program, for me, what has really come to light during the COVID relief program that we've been administering is, wow, the need for decent, affordable housing we have in Anderson County. And our housing rehab program, I think, is a huge piece of that, because we need to save the units that we have, because we don't have enough housing units available. And so here, not only is a housing unit that we can save to house someone, but it sometimes is the only asset someone has to pass down to the next generation. So when we talk about wealth creation and building assets in low wealth families and low wealth community, housing is a big piece of that. So I kind of see our housing program in the middle. It's not a basic needs program, although housing is a basic need, but it also lands in that asset building piece, because if we can preserve these housing units, it helps the community, but it also helps that family who may be teetering on generational poverty, that this is an opportunity to start building their assets and to go from poverty to prosperity. We received a call from the county early in 2021 asking us to be the organization that administered the emergency rent and utilities program, the ERAP 1 program. It was a challenge. It was a challenge that we wanted to take on because we knew that if we could do this and can do it successfully, that there would be many opportunities that would follow with the county and being able to impact families in this community, not just with COVID relief, but with housing and hunger and all of the other needs that we see on a daily basis. So we created a platform because people have to put the information in electronically. It all has to be captured because that's what the federal government needs. We did this successfully. While many counties across South Carolina struggled, our state housing association struggled to be able to get these dollars out on the street. We were successful. We even know that across the country, people struggled with how to get this money out to the people in need. $6.1 million to help people with rent and utility assistance. There has to be a COVID connection. They don't have to have had COVID, but there has to be some relationship to COVID, which either decrease their income or increase their expenses. Once we can make that connection and get the documents that we need, we're able to help people with all arrearages from their rent and utilities, and possibly even a month or two forward based on the circumstances. We have actually applied for an additional $1.25 million through Treasury because where we are now, we're tracking to expend the money by the end of May, and the deadline is September. So we're going to be able to fill that gap and continue to provide these COVID relief services to families in Anderson County that rent. They have to rent, they have to live in Anderson County. Their income has to have decreased, or their expenses have to have increased due to COVID. And those are really the only criteria that we're looking at. Yes, the gratitude, we received one email and it just was so heartwarming from a father who said, "You have literally given me hope and the knowledge that I can keep a roof over my 5-year-old's head." So there's a lot of gratitude out there. But you know, it's not just about that client that we've been able to serve. It's about that landlord. In particularly the older folks who have bought 1 or 2 houses to be a supplement to their Social Security income. And can you imagine going for a year without receiving any rental monies from the tenants that you were serving? They don't want to put the tenants out. At the same time, some of them even still have mortgages on these homes. So it was really a situation where we were able to have a huge impact for clients that we served every day for 30 plus years. We were able to help landlords preserve the properties that they were renting, and we were able to help this community because there could have been a mass exodus of homeless people into the streets. And so I think we definitely did the right thing, and we've been proud of the success. It really has helped us with our partnership with the county. The county looks to us when addressing these kinds of needs to see how we want to partner, if we can partner. And that's really my ultimate goal, is to be able to work with the county and bring in dollars to this community to have much greater impact than we're able to have as just Anderson Interfaith Ministries. Exactly. Our tagline's giving hope and changing lives. You know, when people have given up, and that's that poverty mindset. It's that hopelessness where you only are living for today. You can't see a future, so there's not that hope. So that's what we feel that AIM has been over the last 30 years. We've been that beacon of hope. And if people want to, we can provide the support, not just the financial support, but all the other supports that come to having a better life and truly moving from poverty to prosperity. The volunteers are the backbone of this organization and have been since the beginning. When I was hired 30 plus years ago, it was me. I was one of those part-time, full-time employees where I was paid for 30 hours a week, and I worked 50, 60 hours a week. But the real work came from the volunteers, and we still have, I want to say we had 750 volunteers that we tracked last year. Well, actually on our website, you can go to our website, aimcharity.org, and you can actually sign up there. It's called Helper Helper.
Say on our
website. You can actually go to our website, aimcharity.org, and you can sign up to volunteer. It's called Helper Helper. And it will list the volunteer opportunities for you. You put your name in, you can sign up to come. You can come as an individual, you can come as a youth group, you can come as a business. It's a great team building opportunity. So if you want to be involved at AIM, there's a place for you. This partnership is the United Way Financial Stability Center at AIM. And the United Way funds that part, the financial stability piece, where we can provide classes, workshops, things that can help people with their budgeting, with building those assets that we've talked about, how to open a savings account, how to create a small business plan, how to understand your benefit package, anything that people need to know so that they can grow their own wealth. But in addition to that, we created, it's been a long time coming, many years ago we started the process of creating something that we now call the X Factor. It's a communication and diversity training based around how the different socioeconomic classes see the world, make decisions, and communicate. There's such a disconnect between the classes, be that poverty, be that middle class, and be that upper class. If you grow up in a certain class, that's how you see the world. Not that you can't make that transition, but we believe that this can be a game changer. Anderson University is committed to this. They're so committed that they have given us a certification for this program. And Dean Steve Nail is constantly trying to help us connect with folks who can use this, because he sees this as a real opportunity for employers to retain employees. If the employer understands why the employee makes the decisions that they make, they can then coach them to make decisions that are going to be more productive in the workplace. If the employee understands the expectations of the employer coming from that middle class lens, then they're going to be able to make better decisions, communicate better, so that everybody wins. And if our companies can retain employees, they win. And those employees win. I call it poverty mobility through job stability. If we can keep people employed, they can then eventually move out of that state of poverty. With the benefit programs that are out there and available now, there's a lot of opportunity that we haven't seen before. So it's really important. Carol and I have discussed this X factor being important to nonprofits. Training boards on how the different classes see the world and communicate. Training staff so that they're more effective in dealing with their clients by understanding this. When we talk about diversity, we talk about sex, we talk about race, we talk about all of the disabilities, we talk about everything. How often do you ever hear anybody talk about class and the class diversity? We have to realize that somebody coming from poverty brings a lot to the table. If we can bring them to the table and respect and value what they have to say, we can have a much better community. Stronger community. Oh wow, it has the last 2 years have been a ride. The pandemic has been good to us in many ways. We again picked up donors that we hadn't before. We had 540 plus brand new donors in 2020. The county's call to action that we stepped up to has brought additional resources and responsibilities. But we've moved to a drive-through food pantry so that we're more effectively and efficiently serving our clients in a safe manner. It opened up space for us. So this past year we've been doing a campus-wide overhaul. For the first time ever, AIM's invested internally. We've always taken the old desks from the banks, and we've just done what we needed to do. But first of all, the folks that come here for services, they deserve a nice place to come. My staff deserve a nice place to come and work. And it speaks professionalism, I think. And at some point I will be retiring, and my goal is that when I leave here, I leave it in a much better place than I found it. AIM has been blessed to own every building on this campus. And it was time for us to invest in doing some upgrades around our IT. We've got a new server. We've bought the IT equipment that we needed. We've increased our security system. We've done the things that we needed to do here. We had the opportunity for an AmeriCorps grant to give us 10 AmeriCorps members to do the work, the frontline work around COVID relief, around housing and hunger. But if we didn't have the office space available, we would not have been able to accept that grant. So we have added 10 new offices and a conference room, and just signed an MOU with AmeriCorps last week. So, God has blessed us. He has poured out blessings on this organization over the past 2 years. So that's kind of where we are. We've got COVID relief to administer until the end of 2026. Just want to continue to stabilize this organization and position us for the future.
So we end another segment of Anderson County Serves Here. I know that you have been impressed by the work of Christy King Brock and her team and what they're doing at AIM and what they're doing for the people of Anderson County. I hope that you will take advantage of opportunities to volunteer, opportunities to donate. As you have heard from so many organizations that we've talked to over the last few months, again, there are opportunities just for you to make a difference by serving in Anderson County. Thank you, and look forward to our next segment.